Hey, what's going on? This is Glendon Cameron, Hustlers Kung Fu. Today, we talk about Uber. Is Uber a business model? Is Uber merely a hustle? 2014, I wrote a book about Uber. I'll get into all of that stuff because there's a lot of talk. There are many people who are just kind of tripping out about Uber. And one of the things we're doing here is to help you start a business legitimately. And I'm going to touch on many topics here. Is Uber a good business model? Does Craigslist still work? And stuff like that. So stay tuned. We're going to get into it. Be sure to subscribe. All right, so let me jump into this chat room. We've got a few people here. All right. One of the reasons, before I get too deep, I am going to put out a $10,000 bet. It's below the video. It's in writing. You can save this video. I want to say it. If you know who you are, numbnuts, and your hairy friends, can prove video evidence, records, whatever you need, $10,000. That's right. It's a $10,000 bet to anyone that can prove that I drive for Uber or had driven for Uber in 2016 or 2015. I wrote a book, links below, drove for Uber for 6 weeks, but for some reason, some people seem to think that's current. But hey, if you know that for a fact, prove it. Put up the video evidence. Me behind, hands behind wheels, Uber paychecks, all that stuff, and you get 10 grand. All right, I'm finished clowning. Let's get into the deal. What I found out in 2014 was Uber is a great hustle. Uber, Lyft, if you can have a valid driver's license, you can pass the background checks, and you have no money, Uber's not a bad thing. Now let's get into all of the stuff that people talk about with Uber. Uber's a scam, all of the wear and tear on your car, all of these things. If you are broke Dick Danny, you have no money, your bills are piling up, who the fuck are you to be choosy? See, this is the thing that gets me. There's so many people who want to be a millionaire until it comes time to do the work of a millionaire. First thing you got to do is crawl before you walk, and then walk before you run, and then run and practice before you start sprinting. Many people want to go from broke Dick Danny status to millionaire status in 30 days. Like as if you win the lottery, okay, but your chances of winning the lottery are pretty fucking slim. So that's not going to happen. You got to look at this, and I'm going to kind of intersect some of my stuff that is part of this deal. What we got? What's up, Nigel? What's up, Irvin? This is a live stream. If you come later, and I'll be talking to people who are in the chat room. So don't be wigging out and leaving those weak comments. Is this live? When, YouTube really helps you out and put this was streamed so many days ago. That should tell you. I was broke Dick Danny, and I reached a point of practicality. I reached a point where I had to be very realistic. I had no money. Nobody was knocking down my door to give me any money, and I needed to make some money. So I went to this thing called the labor pool. Labor pool, if you don't know, is one of these places where you show up early in the morning and you sit and wait in line for the jobs to come in, and then you can go out and make between 30 and 80 bucks a day and get paid at the end of the day in cash if you make it there before they close, and you can cash your check at whatever little Chinese shop they have. It was really weird. It was like these checks weren't even real. And I did that because I realized I was broke Dick Danny. There are many of you out there who are broke Dick Danny, penniless Priscilla, and you think you have options, and you have no damn money in your pocket. You don't have enough skills to command options. Be real. So I give you all that to say, if you're in a position where you want to have your online empire, I'm here to tell you, in time, you can have that. But it's going to take time. It's going to take hard work. You can get that. So Uber or Lyft may be one of those things to carry you over while you build, because that was 1997 when I was doing that. I was doing it kind of 1998, and I had matriculated to a higher level of temporary job. There was a staffing agency, and that's how I got to work at T-Mobile. And I did what I had to do until I could do better. Be real. If you ain't living a millionaire lifestyle, it could be because you don't have millionaire skills yet. I'm just saying yet. What's up, Master Rod? Irvin Thomas, I found a job at the hospital, now upgraded from broke Dick Danny. Congratulations. What's up, Jermaine? And I'm doing Uber at the same time. Double hustle, I like it, I like it. DOK, I just got through your Uber course. It's great, but can you explain how should I incorporate for it? Okay, I'm gonna make some changes. That's a really good one, Theo. If you're going to incorporate for Uber and put yourself down as an independent contractor and have a LLC, you need to have the LLC in your EIN before you apply. So if you didn't do that, you're kind of like going to reverse, and maybe Uber will allow it, but I saw that a lot of the Uber Black limo drivers, they had corporations. And also, I wouldn't even recommend all that now unless you're going to hire other people and be kind of a sub Uber under Uber. Get yourself 5, 6, 7 cars and something like that. I would just say use Uber as something to carry you over, or pay bills while you build. Pay bills while you build. That's how I see Uber. Uber and Lyft are hustles. There are some remarkable people who have done really well with Uber and Lyft, but we cannot take the exceptions and apply that against a whole as a rule. Some guy was selling jewelry, so I think someone did 250,000, but he had this other thing. There's so many variables there. But for the rank and stock person who's going to sign up for Uber or Lyft, it is just a hustle, something to carry you through. And if you like Uber, some people like Uber and Lyft, and they turn it into their full-time thing. I remember I was taking an Uber, and this guy had quit his warehouse job. And he said, I went Uber full-time because I make more money. And he said the key words. He said, after gas, after Uber fees, I make $200 a week more than I was making at that warehouse job, and I work less. Practicality, numbers, that made sense. That really worked for him. And you got to look at it that way. What's up, 31 Dub? I never did Uber Fleet, so I'm not going to talk about that, but you're going to need some money to do Uber Fleet. Think about that. Okay, cool. Yeah, just do that. Just go with the 1099 because go with Uber and look. Once again, I drove for Uber 2014. So I'm quite sure many things have changed. I take Uber, and I've noticed that sometimes the rate went really down because at one point rides were $5. Then it went up to like minimum ride was like $7. So there's a lot of things that's going on. So the best thing to do is go to the Uber site or one of these 100% ride share channels. If Numbnuts was actually somebody worth referring, I would refer his channel, but we're going to blow that chance. Yeah, just keep it as a hustle. And then I'm going to give you some percentages here. Let's just say you have moved from broke Dick Danny status. You're Ubering, you're balanced out, you're paying your bills. What you have to do is be very judicious with your money. You need to get a notebook, Mint, whatever you can, some type of cash flow money management tool. And you want to be so precise with your budget that if you have a bad day, you know it instantly. Then once you get all of your core bills straight, and what I would say while you're building, get rid of anything that's bullshit. You're trying to become a millionaire, fuck cable right now. If you're trying to set yourself up, and this is if you're broke Dick Danny, this is you have no money, you don't have any marketable skills yet. You got to do what you got to do. You got to break yourself down to the bare bones where your living expenses are so small that maybe 1 week or 2 weeks of Uber covers everything, because you got to stack some chips. You got to have a little money to start this. And then when you're not Ubering, or, in the case of Irving here, who's working and Ubering, an hour or two a day has to be dedicated to your business. You have to just carve that in stone and do what you can. And as you start to balance out and you start your online business, because I'm going to tell you a truth about online businesses that many people will not. Number one, you notice that there have been many teenage wonder kids. These are people who are like still in high school and they're creating these wonderful businesses, right? You know why? Because mom and dad are paying all the bills. They have no financial responsibilities whatsoever and plenty of free time. If you could have a situation where someone was paying all your bills and loved you, and every time you went to a refrigerator, there was food in there, yeah, you could probably take a year or two to build your online empire. That's why it works, because they got all the time and the resources. If you are an adult with bills and responsibilities, you got to have some money coming in. You're not a kid and you just don't get that kid pass. I'm sorry. Typically, when you're building an online business with no money, it's very different. Even if you have 5 or 10 grand to invest, it's way different. But if you're broke Dick Danny status, no extra money to invest in the business, $200 will hurt you. It's going to take you years doing it that way to grow your business. And I would say if that's where you are and that's all you can do it. And then as your situation improves, you can accelerate it. But be under no mistake that you're going to come online, no one knows who you are, and all of a sudden you're just going to be making all this money. It's not happening. You're not a kid. You don't have that situation. So when you see one of these wonder billionaire teenagers, don't get butthurt. Don't feel bad about yourself. Don't feel that you're underperforming. You have to look at the environment in which they're excelling in. And if this Uber kid has rich parents, they were so far ahead of you at birth, there's no point in you even beating yourself up about that. There's none. Just let that go. Don't hurt yourself. So building those online businesses, even if it's fast, it's still going to take a year. So you as an adult, pick your hustle and realize something. A hustle is a hustle for the most part. There are some hustles that you can turn into businesses, but many hustles are just that. They're hustles. They'll never be any more. And that's not bad. That's not good. That's just the way it is. And to me, Uber and Lyft, that's it. If you're the Uber driver or the Lyft driver and someone does a video in your car and you go viral, that's probably not even going to change your life. You may get to go on Ellen. And then after your 15 minutes of fame are over, what's going to happen? I mean, maybe some wonderful opportunity will pop out there, but just for the hustler Kung Fu nation, it's a hustle. Uber's a hustle. Lyft's a hustle. Do it while you have to. And when you get out, when you can do better, leave it alone. My experiences with Uber in 2014, if you saw the thumbnail, I picked up 6 lesbians going to Gay Pride weekend. 6 lesbians in tutus. I got more pictures, but I don't think I can put them up without getting in trouble, because these girls were a lot of fun. They had no shame. I mean, one literally, her boobs were hanging out, and it wasn't because she was trying to show off. It's just her costume, because they had capes and stuff. It just kind of didn't perform well, and they were just sitting there, and I'm looking in the mirror, and I see eggs that looking at me, right? And it was real funny. And they was like, oops, I'm flashing the Uber driver. And I was like, yes, you are. Yes, you are. And I was like, well, I'll need to take a picture, but you need to put your clothes back on. And that's what it is. Let's see. Irvin Thomas. I can start with 2 comments. Jermaine, I made $65,000 driving for Uber in San Francisco in 2014. Let's talk about Jermaine's situation. I 100% believe Jermaine made 65 grand. Now, if you're not in San Francisco, if you're not in New York, DC, some other city with super high volume, it's not going to roll like that. It's just not, because that's another thing that I had discovered. If you're like Jermaine and you're in San Francisco, you can drive when you want, because San Francisco is a vibrant city. New York's a vibrant city. You're in Atlanta, you have to drive when the hours dictate you drive. I started off, and I'm going to give you full disclosure. I lived in a very well-to-do neighborhood. Actually, I moved back when I started Uber. So I woke up at 4 a.m. and I would get 3 to 4 airport runs, which was 135, $200 a day before 6-ish. I was in a good part of town. And once I figured out the hot spots to sit in and not to chase surges, because that was just ridiculous, I could average high hundreds to two some a day and then do the power thing on the weekends. But this whole thing, as it was back then, and most than likely it's changed a little bit, driving when you want did not work for me. I had to drive when the demand was there to make the kind of money I wanted, because I could literally, and I tested this. I sat in my car, I went out at 10, and between 10 and 6 o'clock, 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., I did maybe $100. Whereas if I got up at 4, I can do close to 180 to 220 before 10. I tested this a few times. So if you're not in one of those big cities, driving when you want, that's a fantasy. Jermaine Ellis, let's see. I have a rideshare economy channel. Jermaine Ellis, it would be very hard to make that much money this year. Why would that be the case, Jermaine? DOK, how long do you think before self-driving cars start replacing drivers for rideshare? I'm thinking 2020. Add another 10 on there, 2030. First of all, there's a lot of people who are not going to ride in a car with no driver. There's a bunch of people, and the technology is wonderful. There is an acclimation period. So you could probably drive for Uber for the next 10 years and not even be affected by that. Mama needs her wine, Saturday night special. Oh, for those of you, I'm going to start doing stories again. Go to, and all the links to my alter egos, my other channels are below the video. Be sure to subscribe to them. Be School for Hustlers, video, Mac Daddy Media, self-publishing, personal development, and stories and commentary are going to be at I Am Cameron. I got a lot of Ubers. I got a shit ton of Uber stories in 6 weeks, and I've only put up a few, but they're going to be at I Am Cameron. Links below the video. DOK, are you in Atlanta? What were the hot spots you drove in 2014? Okay, I lived in Sandy Springs, and actually not too far from here, there was this Powers Ferry, and there was a BP station. If I got in there and just stayed there, I would get from West Paces to, what's the name of that other road? Not Howell Mill, but I would, in the neighborhood, there was all these $1 million homes. So busy executives, entrepreneurs, and boom, it would just start ringing. I'm up at 4. Who is going to the airport at 4 o'clock in the morning? A business person or a salesperson or someone who's got to go to a business meeting. These are not regular type jobs, right? And I would just sit there and ping, and then I would go to the airport. And then for those of you who are in Atlanta, if you go, I don't know if this is still the case because they supposedly had this electronic fence, but if I left the airport and kind of hung around Virginia Avenue, I would get pings from the airport. And do this at your own risk. And I would text the person, I'm in a BMW X5, what are you wearing? And sometimes people would send me pictures. And I would drive up, and I will tell you this little story. I was picking up this lady, because the thing is, I don't know how it is now, but they were towing people's cars. They were impounding Uber drivers' cars at the airport. So I go pick up this lady. Now, once I was driving the BMW X5, so it didn't look like the typical Uber vehicle, and I didn't have that Uber plaque in my window, and they never even gave me one. So I'm riding up, and it's this lady, and I'm getting, there's these Atlanta PD, because dude is looking at me because I got my phone on the windshield. So he's looking at me and he's rolling this way. So I hop out, I pop I pop my fob, which lets the back up. I see her and I run to her and I give her a hug. She hugs me back. I grab her luggage, put it in the car, open up a door, put it in there. And we just laughed all the way home. She lived in Marietta. But be careful with that. I'm not going to say it's okay now because I don't think it's okay, but you can get your shit impounded. So that was one of the hot spots. Another hot spot, Northside Drive, there is a Uh, Flying Biscuit used to hang out there. Got a lot of stuff from West Paces Ferry, and also I would see a lot of Uber Black limousine drivers. They were in the same spot, and they had figured this out. So typically, if you pull in and you see someone who's a Uber Black limousine dude, and you're doing Uber X, you may get that ride that they could have got. Solar Scholar in Chicago. I made 200 a day on the weekends. My best weekend, and I did the power weekend, I did 800 bucks. From now, this few things you should understand. It was during football season. So what happens is a lot of people start lubricating like early in the morning before the noon games. And I just went from 10 a.m. to like 1 o'clock. It's gross. You know, Uber took their cut. Jermaine Ellis, Uber nowadays, they play with the fares so much you got no idea how much you're going to make. Wow, I didn't know that. That's why, you know, and I want to say thanks for you chiming in, because once again, that just confirms that Uber is a hustle, and you have to have some other stuff that you're building in the background. Okay, I don't drive for Uber anymore. I work for this other startup called TaskRabbit. TaskRabbit, I was going to talk about TaskRabbit, but in Atlanta, it's not really doing much. New York is going crazy. San Francisco, Los Angeles going crazy. Just check it out. There's all kinds of stuff there. Kevin, what kind of mileage were you getting with the X5? My WRX is getting 1920. Can I still make money with Uber? Well, where do you live? I'm going to tell you, if you're not in a large city or close to a large city, it's probably not going to be in the cards for you. I had a V8 in that sucker, so I don't really know. It was actually much better than you would think on the highway. City driving, probably 11, 14 miles. Once again, I was just driving for Uber so I could give you real-time knowledge versus just writing a book based on research. And anyone who bought that book and applied it made money. I wouldn't say maybe possible today. I mean, it give you finding the hot spots, whether they mess with the fares or not, is going to be critical to your success. Finding the rhythm and time of the day that you should drive is going to be critical to your success. And the book does help you with that. And all of that stuff's below the video. Jay the Great 85. I live in Atlanta. Just started Uber 2 months ago. I think it's all a strategy game. It is 100% a strategy game, because if you find the hot spots and know where to sit, and I would say find a hot spot and sit, because driving around you will miss fares. But if you find, like I'm telling you, if you're in Atlanta on the north side, that BP station at Powers Ferry, like once you're like heading toward Roswell Road on 285, there's a BP station. There is a hotel. It's one of those off-brand hotels. And you just get there, you're going to get, because the neighborhood, and just give you the makeup of the neighborhood, like Sandy Springs, as it wraps around Powers Ferry, as it wraps around going up towards North Cobb, and it comes toward West Paces Ferry, ain't nothing in there but money. $1 million homes, mountaintop mansions. It's just hundreds of them. No, probably thousands of them. Probably a few thousand of them. So it's very rich in the type of person who's going to be going to the airport, because that was my strategy. If I could get 3 to 4 airport runs plus some regular fares, 4 hours, 5 hours, made my 200 bucks. It was good. If I missed those windows, I can literally hang out all day and not even make 200 bucks. It was crazy. So it is 100% strategy. All right, you're Seattle. Hell yeah, you can make money in Seattle. All that money in Seattle, all that tech, yes, that's going to work in Seattle. Credit Boss, kill my bad credit. What's up, Glendon? We need to touch bases sometime on a joint venture. That's going to be a hard one. I'll talk about that in future videos. All the Lyft and all the Lyft and Uber drivers I talked to in DC say you can easily make 1,000 a week. One driver even showed me he made 1,032. Once again, what's DC? Do you know during the Great Recession there was no recession in DC? DC is the home of our politics. The president's there. All these lobbyists, Congress. It's a government city, so governments are not quote impacted by the economy in a way that average citizens are and businesses. So yeah, I talked to a guy. He was killing it. DC is a city you could drive when you want and still make money. Man, I really need this info. I know all about those areas. It's Uber is a strategy. Like, let's give you some more stuff. I would get mad if I was at the airport, and this is what I did. Do what you want. I learned to turn my app off until I got to wherever I wanted to be, because I dropped someone off the airport and then I got pulled over on the Campbellton Road. And it was this lady, she was nice and everything, and I took her to work. Then I got pulled over to Grant Park, and I was doing all of these little pickups, wasting a lot of time, getting caught in traffic, and I was steadily, picking people up, but I made like $80 in 4 hours because it was because the traffic, where they wanted to go. So I would my strategy was go to the airport, leave the airport, turn my app off, get to Northside Drive, Flying Biscuit. Once I was in the parking lot, I'd turn my app back on. Or if I would scoot over to Virginia Avenue, I would turn my app on when I was there. But if I left it on, I always got pulled out of my territory and it was just not profitable. So strategy is a very big part. Master Rod. Rideshare strategy is events, entertainment, venues, including bars, rush hours, airports, if your city has at least 1 million people. Okay. Jermaine, I've already made $250 on TaskRabbit today. I had some stuff I needed done in my TaskRabbit. And once again, Atlanta. Atlanta has a huge population, but you got to look at what kind of population. DC, government. San Francisco, tech all day long. Los Angeles, tech, entertainment, wine. So you go to some other place that can have a comparable population, but these people don't travel like these tech people do. G Ranks, I do Lyft in DC, good money in DC. Several people say that because once again, DC is a city that never sleeps. There's always something going on. Pentagon, all of these departments, the Department of Commerce, the State Department, all this stuff in DC, it's never going to stop. They said the Uber price went down. Okay, once again, and I want to say thanks to everybody that's chiming in. Uber is a hustle. This is not something you want to turn into a business unless you've got the extra money and some knowledge of having some kind of car service. Because once you get a car service, let's say you go ahead and you got 10 G's, you got one car, you drive one, you get another one, and then you become a manager. Things you can do is market your service, going back to what Master Rod said, you could just, like if there's places that have certain kind of meetings, if you're in Atlanta, traffic's bad. Let's say this company has this executive meeting every week. You fly by and it's like, hey, I'll take you to your meeting. That way you don't have to get in your cars and pay for parking. Actually taking me is less and you have more time to do your business. A smart business person would jump all over that. So that's going to take, having some sales skills, getting out your car and that type of stuff. But that, you're building a business, once you start marketing. Irvin, that's in Miami. A dude told me he used to make money in 2014, but now his prices for drivers have gone down. Okay. What's up, Ben the bartender? When I close up the bar, I usually do some Ubering and pick up the after hours walk of shame crowd. Ben the bartender's getting tips and it could be getting some other stuff. If you go to I Am Cameron, I have one of my more saucy Uber stories and there will be a few. And once again, I only drove 6 weeks. There's a lot of stuff that goes down. I'm just saying, if you're a single dude and you're good with the ladies, Uber can exponentially expand your success rate like crazy. Broderick, I tried Uber, but I believe I did it wrong. I hung out around colleges, so I always had people riding, but it was down the street in small rides, so I didn't profit that much in Dallas. Yeah, those airport rides for me, I don't know what they are now. They were anywhere from $36 to $55 because frequently, not only would I get an airport run, I would catch him doing a surge. I picked this dude up it's in the middle of Buckhead. It's a really nice hotel. From that hotel to the airport, it's $110 because it was surge. Dude was a millionaire, so he was just like, yeah, that happens all the time. He didn't even sweat it. And that day, I think I did like five something, close to six, and most of it was because of that 110. But it's very much strategy. What's up, Glendon? Plead the fifth. I know why you get in that walk of shame crowd, but that's one of the things, and that's pretty much all I have for this, because Uber's not a scam. Uber is a good thing to help you get some cash going and handle yourself while you build your business. It is not a business model. You're not driving for Uber. You're not a business person. You're just it's a job. That's what it is. It's a job with flexible hours. That's what it is. And outside of some exceptional cases, that's what Uber is. Theo, should you get a dash cam and record your rides to prevent false accusations from women? I'm gonna touch on that. Going to the thumbnail, those girls were funny. They were lesbians going to Gay Pride weekend. Maybe lesbians, but I don't know. And all things were said, and they were real flirty. They took pictures for me. So I had Wednesday night, ladies' nights out, mom's nights out. I had this one drunk chick rubbing my crotch. I picked her up again, which oddly enough, and she remembered. She was just, I'm so sorry. I think typically the chances of you having a false accusation are pretty slim. Pretty slim. Now, if alcohol's involved, I would say if you have a dash cam, turn it on if you got people who are drunk. But other than that, I think you're going to be good. I did have this guy, this French guy who was drunk, that I had to put out of my vehicle because he started putting his hands on me. Get out. And that was it. And that was 911. He saw I was calling the police and he got out. And that was probably the worst thing. But he was drunk. And this is my thing. If someone is drinking, I don't hold the shit that they did against them except when they're driving. I used to work in the emergency room. I have seen the results of drunk driving. And there's some, don't do it. Don't do it. Because typically, I worked in the lab. I would be the one getting the blood alcohol level, going through all the security procedures, taping it up, having the troopers sign off on this stuff. And this person's drunk out of their mind, handcuffed to the gurney. And with a few scratches, they're fine. But in trauma 1, trauma 2, trauma 3, there are people dying because someone felt they were good enough to drive home when they were drunk. So take Uber, cab, whatever you have. Don't drive and don't drink and drive. Just don't do it. Mr. Safety, forever. Once the company establishes itself, it appears to exploit and decrease substantially the compensation to those who built it. I would say that's true because Uber is a third-party marketplace. Uber invented the app. Uber paid all the money for the marketing. Uber borrowed the billions of dollars. Uber did the deals. And then these people who are independent contractor, workers, whatever, they came in and traded time for money. True. That's what businesses do. That's why you need to start your own shit. So if you're going to look at certain things, I can understand being frustrated, but understand the game is cold. If that business can get you to work for $4 an hour, that's what they're going to do. Why? Because their shareholders want them to return the dividends and profits. And the best way to do that is to squeeze you. So that's the reality of it. Give Johnny 88, the French guy. I mean, he was French, very thick French accent. Ben the bartender, if you can't afford a dash cam, your phone camera can record video. Just keep it powered up. Yeah, because like I said, I just didn't have any problems. I think I almost got recruited for this threesome. It was just some weird stuff. Actually, that story's on this channel. But there will be some more saucy stuff on I Am Cameron. But that's really the thing. Don't even look at it. Don't try to make it more than it is. Don't try to turn it into a career. Do Uber for a bit or, do it part-time, but have your eye on something else. Yep, Ben the bartender. I mean, this is what it is. This is what they're going to do. And when you do your own company, you just have way more protection. Just a lot more options, and other things. Okay, yeah. As you can see, I've gone back to the old streams. I'm gonna tell you, using Wirecast can be really interesting sometimes. Yeah, man. Easily does it. Go to the story section, the story playlist, and look for Easy Does It. It's a thumbnail of a chick who's got a leg outside the car. I left some stuff out, but that shit was wild. It was really, really wild. Nigel is talking. Yeah, that's exactly what he's just talking about. Because, I mean, you look at it, it goes up and down. And once again, even with that being the truth, I still recommend Uber as a hustle. Let's just say you get fired, right? And you get fired on the 15th of the month. They give you your last check, you got to pay rent. If you can go get signed up with Uber real quick, you could get a check before rent's due. That's a hustle. That's survival. I mean, I fully recommend and endorse that stuff. It's just don't sit there and think that y'all getting married. It's just a one night stand or a short fling. That's all it is. What's up, Lamote? So if you got any questions about Uber, I answer them based on my 2014 experience. And also, for the Hustlers Kung Fu Nation, anyone out there who's saying, hey, Glendon Cameron drives for Uber, let them know. It's like, oh, he drives for Uber? Well, go to his channel. He's got a $10,000 bet if you can prove it. So please prove it. And let me know when you prove it, because I don't drive for Uber. It's just something that people like to say because they're so unsuccessful in their own lives. It's just sad. What's up, Limo? Henry Torres, my dad has a stretch limo and he has it parked doing nothing with it. And I'm thinking about doing something with it, and I'm in Omaha. Any ideals? You're going to have to knock on doors if you want to start a car service. I don't know if Uber's going to let you drive that because Uber doesn't do limos, to my knowledge. I don't know. Once again, check into that. Uber does limos, Lincoln Town car, stuff like that. Yeah, you would have to get out and advertise that car service. That's a whole different ball game. Go to my video, how to start a service business. That should give you some insights on that. Okay. Any other questions? Let's see, where are we? Because this was going to be short. All right. I'm staying within the time frame. Thank you, Lamode. Okay. All right. So I'm getting ready to bounce. If some more questions pop in, I will answer them before I go. Be sure to subscribe. Now, this is a little different. I am changing up the channel. On Hustlers Kung Fu, this channel, it's just going to be about hustles and beginning stuff. You know, a little flipping, a little Uber, some other stuff. Now, if you want the stories, that's going to be at I Am Cameron. And if you're already a business owner and you want more advanced tactics, that's going to be a B School for Hustlers. And if you want to be about the video marketing, online courses, things like that, that's going to be at Mag Daddy Media. All of those links are below. Just go ahead and click and subscribe to those channels. And if you want to be about that writing thing and blogging, that's going to be Rich Self-Published Author. Each channel is going to be very segmented, and that's the only thing I'm going to talk about. B School for Business, there will be no beginner stuff there. For Rich Self-Published Author, I'm going to get into the writing and blogging thing. That's coming back. And stories and commentary. I just hadn't had time to jump into it this week. Just been really busy. Let's see. Oh, Jamar. Hey, Glenn, the Uber will X you out for on child support. Good thing it was only a hustle for me. Once again, it's a hustle. I did not know that. Wow. The Hectrix. Harry Glendon is going to replace Hugh Hefner at Playboy. That's my rumor, and I'm sticking with it. Funny. Master Rod, use it as a stepping stone to do other things you want to do. Good for warm calling, sales, other service. You got to know how to talk to people, and business people pass out business cards. I 100% agree, Master Rod. Be as you will. I would like to hustle with over, but my car. Yeah, I mean, you gotta get a better car. Now, here's some. I don't know if it's still true, but if someone would let you use their car, they would have to put you on the insurance, and that would get you in the Uber. But I don't know if that's still true. Mark, is there a limit to how many hours you can work in a day? From an Uber standpoint, no. From a physical body standpoint, yes. Driving all day is hard on your body, so that's something you got to test. Everybody's different. Nigel, I hear Glenn is going to get on Shark Tank. They wouldn't want me on there. I would be like insulting people and stuff. Wait, they already do that stuff. That's the thing. I did not know that. See, Uber, once again, I will tell you, I had a whole nother channel called Hustlers University, and then this guy tried to sue me because the name's very simpler, and then people were like getting confused, even though his thing was totally different. I'm not going to say the name, but I had made the decision before I got the email a week prior because Hustlers University, the channel was going to, it's going to be kind of like King Human. And I really asked myself, do you really want to do that? And I was like, no, I don't. So I was getting ready to kill it anyway when I got the letter. But I did that Uber video. It got up to 90,000 views in like 2 or 3 weeks. And the channel was going well, but everybody was caught up in that Uber craze of making all this money when it just wasn't going to happen. And that's one of the reasons I bailed out of that. Guys, even driving for 6 hours, it's rough. What's up to JWB? So once again, Uber is just a hustle. It's something to carry you through, something to do that. Lyft limits online hours. I did not know that. See, we're getting all this information. Thanks, Ben the bartender. Theo K, Lyft lets you rent cars with no commitment. Google Lyft rental. Wow, I didn't know that. Once again, people in the chat room, for those who are going to come later and see this, we're getting a lot of good information from folks who are out there in the field doing this stuff right now. Good stuff. Okay, so once again, there'll be more videos like this touching on certain things. I'm not going to do TaskRabbit because it doesn't really work here, and it only seems to work really well in big cities. So if you're not in a big city, it could be very daunting to make money with that. All right, so I'm about to bounce. If you got any comments or questions, be sure to put them in the comment section about Uber, and be sure to subscribe to the channels that strike your fancy, because all of that stuff's below. And with that, I will see you guys Monday. I'm doing this because I was supposed to do one Friday, but I got really busy, and I'm going to show you why. So I can pull all this out, because if you'll see, there's nothing over there anymore, because I'll tell you a little quick story. As you know, I got an office, and I went in the office and went to get some desks for the office because we got 2 people starting Monday, and they didn't have the desk, so I moved my desk and some other stuff out there, and I'll replace this maybe because I kind of like this setup better because I'm near the window. But yeah, that was going down Friday. Your courses on hustle come from, but I don't understand what are the indie. I don't know what your India contents. I don't know about Turo, Broderick. Jamar, hey Glenn, I have a digital marketing agency. I'm trying to scale up my team. What's the best way to grow, scale my time with an assistant? That's going to be on B School for Hustlers. For those that didn't know, I created a new company, Mac Daddy Media. I'll be talking about it kind of like vlog style on Mac Daddy Media, because it's a digital marketing agency, except we focus on video. So that's what I'll be doing there. That's a hard question to answer. All right, hard breakdown. All right, Ben the bartender. Be sure to subscribe, leave an interesting comment, and once again, check out the channels that may strike your fancy. So I am out as soon as I can hit this stop button.